If there's ever a time to take a detour, it's when you see a superstar. It's the Kimology 411 Superstar segment, where Kim introduces you to awesome people and their amazing stories. And now, ladies and gentlemen, our latest superstar guest, along with our very own superstar, Kim Shows.
Welcome to another superstar segment of Kimology 411. And today, my guest is Chris Berryman. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Well, thank you for having me, Kim. It's greatly appreciated you've invited me to this great Kimology 411 show. So I am so humbled and honored, and I can't wait to see Kimtober coming up next month. So I can't wait for that. So thank you so much for the opportunity.
Now you have to start, talking about it around where you at. So people would be like, what exactly is this? And then you have to say, well, my friend Kim's birthday is in October and her friends have all crowned it Kimtober. So get used to it.
You got to do it. Absolutely.
Well, and if you're not going to do it, nobody else is. I'm a planner. So
yeah.
It's a good time. So Chris, you and I have been friends forever, for like 2 weeks or a week.
That is forever.
Once you get to know me, you'll be like, that is forever. You are right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny because to this week on my normal show, which episode 53, Tyson and I are going to start talking about the social dilemma. I'm watching The Great Hack and all this social media stuff or whatever. And so after watching it, people always, ask me, so why are you still on it? And it's meeting people like you. That's why I'm still on it. And I believe that you're responsible. So I have LinkedIn, I have Twitter, I have Facebook, I have Instagram, which, by the way, someone stole my identity today on Instagram. I have no followers and no pictures. So why would you even go after me? Like, I'm not even an influencer there. But anyway, so I have all these accounts I really don't use. I use Facebook. And for some reason, a couple weeks ago, I don't even know why I logged into LinkedIn, because I don't even get notifications from them. I went in and I started going through and seeing if I knew people. And I can tell you that you had sent me a message, but instead of just typing out the proverbial, hey, I got something for you, you left me a voice clip. And I was very impressed with that, because that takes a little time. And it also made me kind of intrigued, like, okay, what has he got going on? So that's why I reached back out to you. And then you reached right back out to me. And it was instantly, you were like communicating back and forth. And nobody to me is a stranger. I get along with everybody. And even the people that don't like me, I still get along with them. They can take their energy and not like me. I don't really care. But we started going, and then you asked me, I asked you to do a podcast because of what we're going to talk about, what you're doing. Because you've got some great ideas. But then you invited me to a call that we did last Wednesday. Tell me how all of that came about. Like, why would you reach out to me, leave a message? What are you doing?
Well, great question, and thank you for asking that. My main mission and passion and purpose, Kim, is to bring humanity together and to truly bring humanity into business and beyond. And I had this vision in my head that I wanted to create a conversation out there far more than actually the organization that I'm building, and I want to do that kind of in tandem with one another. So my great friend of mine, Brian Sumner, and I came up with a conversation piece called Conversations for Humanity. And we started talking to people from around the world on multiple topics. It could be social issues. It could be something about in business today and everything. And then I also had my great co-host for almost 3 weeks, Monique Janikowski, jump on the call and start co-hosting with me and everything like that. So I'm really about creating the conversation for humanity, that we bring things to the table of humanity that's going to be uplifting and positive and all about the power of positivity and the power of possibility, that we can truly say now more than ever before in human history, we can help humanity rise and become a part of something bigger than ourselves, because we need to have that in our, not only in our lives, but also we need to have it in our businesses. We need to have people to lead with their humanity and get in touch, just like I got in touch with you. I didn't do the same old, I did the pecking thing and said, I'm going to do out a message for you. No, I reached out, put a voice clip on there, reached out to you and said, Kim, I'd like to have a great and engaging conversation with you, and really want to get to know you. And a lot of people really forego that because they don't want to have that conversation. They think they are too better for this, or not good enough for that, or whatever the case may be. And I think LinkedIn, it can be a huge tool, not only to reach out to people, but that's anyway in social media. But you got to have the willingness to put yourself out there and say, hey, my name is Chris Berryman. I'm the Chief Coalition Builder and founder of Bringing Humanity Together. How can I help and serve you? And that's when I just right off the bat said, hey, you know what? I'd like to invite you to Conversations for Humanity. And all of a sudden, bam, you've already been on 2 calls already. Right. And everything like that. So, and that's what it's basically all about, Kim, is I'm wanting to do this, is like I said, not only a movement, but a new paradigm shift that we can really uplift humanity in such a great human way, that we have the conversations that we need to have, that we reflect what we'd like to see in our businesses today, that brings everybody together.
Oh, yeah. And one of the things that happens in our brain is, you know, your brain, it can be changed, but it takes repetition. And at one point of your life, the majority, and I can't speak for everybody, but the majority, you had this carefree life going on. You know, there are some situations where, you know, bad things have happened, but I'm just talking in general, most people. And over time, whether it's, you know, a bad relationship, a bad job, you know, your kids are having problems, you start kind of slowly, without even knowing it, losing your positivity, because you're kind of looking, you're dreading so much. And so I see this shift because I'm older. I mean, some of the kids, I'm not around little kids, but I see the older people who they have to go to work. I'm listening to some of the music on the radio, and I love the beat, but I start listening to the songs, and I'm like, these people are angry, they're mean, they're vindictive, and this is the stuff that we're listening to without even realizing it. And now, evidently, I have like a superpower, because all of that stuff just kind of blops off of me. It doesn't affect me when it comes to that stuff. I'm an empath, so someone's energy can bring me down, so that I feel that. I get all the empath stuff, but when it comes to social media or music and stuff like that, I look at it, and instead of me feeling what they want you to feel, I feel for the people who don't have the power not feel it, if that makes any sense.
Right.
So to have to envision, you know, in my grandiosis of what I think of is, and I, like I said, I've talked to you for like a couple hours, but just your topic was amazing, because I've been telling people, like, yeah, I got in this really great group, and we're talking about, you know, bringing more humanity, positivity into the workplace, and 99% of them said, good luck. I'm like, oh no, we will do it. I mean, it will happen if enough positive people can get together. The energy can be great. It can be great. And, you know, having the positivity summit, bringing your positivity. I mean, in my mind, that's one of the things that hopefully within the next year or so I'll get to speak about, is being able to be positive and explaining to them that my life isn't rosy, and yes, I get to get mad and I can be upset. Positivity doesn't mean that I give up my emotions and all that kind of stuff. It means that I see what I see, and I figure out why it happened, and I try to make a better thing out of it. And if it's really, really bad, then I get to cry, I get to do it, and then I move forward.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I really just enjoyed that. Just when you said it in the humanity part, I always say it in the positive part, but what you had said is something I hadn't even thought about. I'm not in the workplace. I'm in the workplace right now. It's me. We fight all the time. And then sometimes I win and sometimes I lose. I don't know. I'm kind of snotty sometimes to myself. But
That's okay.
you know, I'm not going to say that I'm always right, but I'm always right.
But see, Kim, that's what's happened to a lot of people today. They don't understand their place. They don't understand their why. They don't understand their purpose. And when a lot of people go to work for someone else, not with somebody else, there's a big distinction there.
Yeah, definitely.
For over 35 years, I've been working for others and helping them get to where they need to go. When we actually work with others, we help each other grow and become a part of something bigger than of ourselves. Because see, I can help Kim get her to where she needs to go, and by natural default, it will also help me get to where I need to go, which by natural default will help anybody in any organization get to where they need to go. That's why I have the mission statement, Kim, of if I help you, you help me, then we help we. Because we have lost our way from not only a leadership dynamic point of view, but that human element point of view that should be coinciding with our leadership, because we don't need to be managed anymore. Management needs to go by the way of the dinosaur. It needs to go away. It needs to go. I truly believe that if we have leadership, true leadership, people who are wanting to ask people, how are you doing today? Are you doing okay with your kids today? Is there a softball game you guys get ready to have? We would like to go to that game. Really get involved in people's lives on a day-to-day basis and really impact them by doing the little things. Show appreciation to them, understanding their needs, finding their strengths, seeing their strengths, and maybe even find that find that hidden talent or gift that's actually inside of them that they may not otherwise see themselves, and say, you know what, I'm going to pull that out of Kim, and I'm going to show her that she's got something really good that needs to be shared, not only with the organization, but with the world. And once we do that, by natural default, everything starts to create that momentum and everything like that. And that's what we need to do now. We need to create the power of positivity, the power of possibilities, and really, truly lead with our humanity. And we just need to do those very simple things. And next thing you know, our organization will start doing things, doing what is right and not what is easy. Because if you do things by the easy way out, you don't lead in the right way. You have an authority kind of complex that you say, hey, I'm in a position of power and that kind of thing. And I truly believe this, and I want to get your thoughts on, should we have our leaders, whether it be in business or otherwise, to lead by permission or lead by position?
Oh, well, I don't believe that. I don't believe a leader has any particular position in any sort of office. I believe a leader leaders come in all levels.
Okay.
So, because if you're a team player, I believe that a boss and a manager they don't make leaders. I also know that a CEO isn't a leader. The owner of the company necessarily is not a leader. Leader is a very definite, a specific word, meaning you could be the secretary and you can lead people that are actually above you by pushing them forward, helping them, and getting them what they need to do. There's no level to leaders. Leaders come in all different sizes, shapes, and jobs. And I think that we have been programmed to believe that our boss is the leader.
Correct.
I have not been. I have not been that. And I have always thought, until I started reading some of the books, and we'll talk about what, like what I read, and if you're reading things, but I have always thought that I was doing something wrong, because I have always led in every job I've had. even when I was 18 years old working in the shoe department, I took on the role and I was very responsible and I made sure everything was done. I didn't boss anybody around. I just made sure that everything got done. And
people are held accountable.
That's how I have been everywhere I go. In fact, I don't even have to work there for people to see me as a leader. I can be in Walmart or Target and people will come over to me and start asking me questions about Target and Walmart because and I don't even have to be dressed up. They look at me as if they feel as if I have power. They just look at me and they're just like, I think she is somebody, so let's go talk to her. And I have always thought that was weird. And my daughter hates it because then when they need to find the French's onions, I'm going to go with them and find them. I'm like, what do you need? Oh, let's go find them. And we'll go find them. I don't even work there, but I'm going to stop and I'm going to help these people. So
that's what a leader does.
A leader.
Absolutely.
Right. You can tell if someone's a leader. And I'm not even going like people say leader and followers. I mean, some leaders can follow other leaders. I mean, that follower is not a bad thing. But those people who just want to show up, get their work done, don't care about anything else, I think they're missing out on life. They're missing out on joy. So if you say by position and permission, I don't know what you mean by permission. What do you mean by?
Let me give it to you in context.
Okay.
When we put somebody in a position of authority, whether it be i.e. a supervisor, i.e. middle manager, i.e. Senior executive, whatever, what happens is, and I've seen this firsthand, they start getting that power that's been afforded to them, that we don't give it to them, but it's been afforded to them by other people. Right. That they have that mindset of, hey, now I'm in authority because I should be telling people to do what I have them need to be done for in an organizational structure that where I tell you to jump and you say how high and that kind of thing. But see, that's where the things go awry because it's like what John C. Maxwell says in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. We equate leadership and management to be one and the same, but they're two polar opposites of the spectrum. They're not remotely in the same thing. So when we start leading by permission is when I grant Kim the permission to lead me to get to where I need to go. And then that creates that dynamic to where the secretary picks up on it. And the next thing you know, the janitor picks up on it. And John C. Maxwell even learned that when he went to his first pastorship in, I think it was in California. He's like, who's the person who really has got the pull around? Who's the one who really is the go-to leader of this organization? When you think it would be all the senior pastors, it wasn't. It was actually the janitor who was actually the leader of that church because he was the guy who was there for multiple years, have gone through multiple pastors in his church, but they went to him for knowledge and guidance on a lot of things. And you never would have thought that when it comes from a janitor. And I believe leadership can be fluid, like you said. It could be like a secretary. It could be a customer service rep, whoever that might be. Right. It could be even your daughter for all you know. And you just don't know it. And you just got to give that invitation to people to say, hey, if you're wanting to lead, I'm giving you the opportunity to do that. And that's what we need to do.
Right. I totally agree. But I also believe that a natural born leader, people just flock to you.
Yes.
And it's not even something that I have to even think about. And the only reason that I now think about it is I started reading so let's stop. My fans know I don't read. I listen to audiobooks. But I have been buying the books now, and I listen to them through my Libby app, and I follow along and I take notes. And I set 30 minutes a day now, as opposed to listening to in the car when I'm really not paying attention. And I just kind of hear that's a good thing, but I'm not paying attention. So I have changed that because right now the books that I'm reading, I want to truly understand them. And so I'm reading these books and I'm like, I think it's odd that people aren't like me. But then I also know that I'm different because when I walk into a room, I already have multiple companies. When they need my help, they know when they bring me in, they're done. I'll do it. That's it. Like, I have a catering company, and so if they're going to do a special event and they need someone to do it, they'll just be like, they'll call me and say, we need this event done, and I'm like, got it. Like, we're done. So the boss knows I don't have to worry about it anymore because Kim's just going to do it. Like, she knows what she's doing. I don't have to tell her how to do it. And then when I walk in, all the employees are going to follow me. They don't even know who I am. I just come in, I'm nice, I get this done. They're happy they don't have to work with the owner. They're like, yeah. And so there's multiple things, but I don't think people actually stop and realize whether they're a leader or are the follower. I think some people are leaders and don't even recognize it. I mean, I've always known I'm a leader. I always call myself bossy. I'm, like I tell people what to do. I've been that way since a child. And I think nowadays we have people in positions who make a good money thinking that they're leaders when they don't have 1 ounce of leadership in them. They don't understand. And you are correct that I believe that we need more leadership training. I actually got to do in 2011, I did Leadership Topeka. And that is like 20 people that through our chamber are interviewed and picked to go for so many Fridays. And you go all over Topeka and you get to meet people. And it's the people in there are like the who's who of the up and coming of all the big time companies. And then Kim, because I'm not in a company, I'm just self-employed. And my friend said, I think you need to you need to be in this class. So I went in there and I'm looking around, I'm thinking, you're not a leader and you're not a leader and you're not a leader. You're a leader. You're a leader. And it was probably 50-50 in my mind. Just looking at the people in there, most of the people were not leadership material. It was just a company throwing them in there. But I think if we did that more, just all the time, I think that people would then learn what leaders are and respect them a little bit more. And things would be a little bit smoother, I think.
Well, you're absolutely right in the context that we need to get more engagement when it comes to our leadership dynamic from a leadership to employee level, in which to me, employees, again, I hate that word. I truly believe in partners. So we need to have partners in business, not employees, because employees are going to start watching the time, be those clock watchers, be able to say, I'm taking a paycheck and going home. That's it. You don't get the true investment out of people if you treat them as such. Yep. And you get more out of that if you had that true dynamic in play, that you have a leader and a partner together in the same common vision, common goal. It's almost like what I have hashtagged out there, and it's another mission statement of mine, which is be of one voice, one mission, that's the other way around. It's one voice, one vision, one mission. Right. And I truly believe in that. It's about being together and as one and being, like you said, united. And if we could be united in something and be behind it, then next thing you know, we open ourselves up to more opportunities, possibilities, and there's so much things that come from that. But we have to be willing to take that step. And if they're not willing to take it from their end, then we must decide as partners in a business, or i.e. employees, need to stand up and say, you know what? I'm going to take a stand for humanity. This is what I'm going to do. And I think that's what we need to do now more than ever before. And that's why I've done this, because I know that there's a better way. And if we are not willing to take that way forward, then who is? And if it's not going to be me, then I guess it's got to be me. If no one else is going to do it, Right.
Yeah. Trust me, I have a lot of those. I'm like, hey, you guys, we need to do this. And it's like, chirp. Like, okay, I guess I need to do this. I'm going to get it done. My family are a bunch of doers. We see a problem, we see something, and we're going to fix the problem. You know,
Right.
we're gonna get it taken care of. Now, some of the books, have you read any of Simon Sinek's books?
I've heard he did a lot of great books, and I need to start reading on some things. I do follow him a lot. He's got a lot of great videos out there, and that's what I mainly follow is a lot of his videos. And people have been, for some reason or another, comparing me to a little bit of Simon Sinek because I talk a little bit like him to a certain degree.
Yeah, well, I've watched his YouTube stuff, and I've read Start With Why, which is the first book. I just finished that one, and he has Leaders Eat Last, which is another book. The book that I'm on right now is Find Your Why, and so about, I don't know, 3 years ago on Facebook, evidently some of my Facebook friends must have read the book. And everything was all about why. And I'm making fun of it because I'm like, you know, I don't know what it even means. And I'm like, why do I go to work? I go to work because I like to make people happy. I like to spread a positive attitude. And people would look at me and they'd be like, no, you go to work to make money. Now, I'm going to tell you, I didn't know who Simon Sinek was. I had never heard of any book, Start With Why, Find Your Why, and nothing. My whole entire life, if you listen to any of the times that I have to go speak and I say, hi, my name is Kim Schultz, and yeah, I do a lot of different things, but my main purpose is I want to make people smile. I want to give people joy, and I want to promote a positive attitude. I didn't even know, once again, I was leading with my why, which is what you're supposed to do.
Exactly.
Now, my why needs a little adapting because there's a formula to it, and I will have that done when I'm getting through Find Your Why, because that's what I started today. But reality is when these authors are talking about that, I freaking feel like a genius because I'm like, I've already done that. Because people will come in and they'll be like, so I'm looking for an accountant. Yep, I'm the best accountant there is. I know how to do numbers. I can do debits and credits all day long. Okay, fine. When they come to me, I say this. My personality's a little over top. I'm going to be here to help you be successful. Do whatever you can, make your dreams come true, and guide you down the right path. You just need to listen to me. I don't talk about debits and credits or accounting. They know that part. They need to know what I'm going to offer them. So correct. I think that, you know, those books and getting people to change their vocabulary and change their presentation of starting out with their quote why is you would rather hear that than when you say, Kim, what do you do? Well, I'm an accountant. Boring. But I say, actually, I do a lot of different things, and I like to spread positivity, and I love to make people smile. And I can make people smile with accounting. I can make them smile anything that I do. That's my why.
Well, see, and you're absolutely right. And I found out my why very early in my journey, coming off of 2017 when I was a corporate recruiter for a solar company here in Florida. There was 2 times. The second time was, like I said, in 2017. The first time for me back in 15 years ago is when I found out that, you know what, I need to be working with people, not for people. That was my first epiphany moment. My second one was when I was that corporate recruiter there at a solar company, and when I was asking candidates and applicants questions like, do you want to become a part of something bigger than of yourself? Do you want to leave a living and lasting impact every day in every way? Do you want to be able to become a part of something bigger than the organization unto itself? And then once I started asking these kind of questions to these people, whether it be through a FaceTime or a Twitter chat or whatever that may be, I was like, you know what? I need to create a great human-driven organization that is so rooted in humanity. Not only will it bring humanity into business, it would truly bring humanity together. So I found my why. And it was like that, like I said, that epiphany moment, say, hey, this is what I need to do. And yes, I may not be the polished speaker out there or a great thought leader or anything like that. I really don't care about that. I'm just so passionate and humble driven to do what I was meant to do, because I know that's what I was meant to do. And getting that journey down there, from going from 15 years ago to now, I've learned so much along the way. It's not perfect. It's going to be very messy, but you know what? When we have those teachable moments in our lives, Kim, and you know this probably far better than me, then when we have those moments, we need to seize upon those opportunities. And if we look at it in the right mindset, in the right frame of mind, that, hey, yes, this was a great opportunity. I'm going to seize upon it and do what I need to do with it. And when we embrace that, not only do we unleash our fullest potential by far, what ends up happening that we create that momentum that people can come up to you in a Walmart and says, hey, I think you work here and everything like that, Kim. I need you to help me find these snack cakes over in aisle, whatever. Oh, sure, let's go. Let's do it. Because that natural gravity to leadership is there because it resonates. And
Yeah.
if we can create that dynamic for every human being, not only in business today, but in society as a whole, then we can truly not only change the face of humanity, we can help uplift humanity and make it rise and become the next renaissance of humanity that we need now more than ever before.
I totally agree. I believe that in our world that we live in today, we are a class of instant gratification people.
Mm-hmm.
We do believe that our time is the most valuable minute of the day, and you are getting into my time. I don't want to talk to you. And it's getting worse. We're getting worse with all the social media and our phones. Our children are actually being raised to live on a phone. They're not making human friends. They're making,
Virtual friends.
Virtual friends. And so, like, when I meet people like you're in Florida. We had people from the UK. We had someone from New Zealand. The only thing I'm looking forward to is like, okay, so when are we all going to get to do every year, meet in a location for a humanity?
And we will get there. We will get there. And I know that. That's the power of possibility. It will happen.
That's all I thought. When I saw that, I was just kind of like, oh, wow, this would be a great event for humanity. And wouldn't probably start out huge, but you start out bringing all those people in, and for whatever it is, and I'm still foggy on the whole idea, but when I come into something, I'm going to be like, nope, nah, that's not work. That doesn't fit into my schedule. No, it's not. I'm not interested. I'm a very blunt person. I'd be like, thank you so much. That was a really cool meeting, but it's not for me. Or I would say, I really got a good feeling. And if you can get a good feeling out of a Zoom meeting, imagine what you could get out of a good feeling when you're all in the same room together, putting your heads together.
Right. And see, that's the way I'm building out, like I said, the community, the movement, the organization. It's all about collaborating together. Because, see, I know for myself, for what I know and what I know now, it's not what I really truly need to know. That's why I need to reach out to a Kim Schultz or Monique or Evan Stern or Luke Williams or Eileen Bild or whoever that might be, because they know far more than I will probably ever get in my lifetime. Because, see, for me, I've been working for others for 35 years, but they have been doing what they have been doing in their own fields of expertise and that kind of thing far longer than me. Even though I might be shorter in span, but when you think about knowledge, that grows on you because you've done it consistently over time. And that it's almost like compounding interest in a bank. You keep doing it, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And I believe if I can create that dynamic that everyone comes together and says, hey, I'm going to help Kim shine, which helps Monique shine, which helps Luke shine, which helps Chris shine, and then going to end up saying, hey, wait a minute. Aren't you a part of this group called Bringing Humanity Together? Yes, I am. Well, how did you get involved in that? It just started with a simple video call.
Right.
Are you kidding me? Really? I want to know more about that. Okay, let's have the conversation. And that's how it starts. And I believe if we can create that conversation for people, not only on the individual level, but also in a corporate structure standpoint, that will say, hey, if we lead with our humanity, and these are the things that we need to do and have a balance in our business, we need to have that in our business. Because see, I guarantee you, Kim, if people start looking themselves in a secondary kind of mindset, not saying no to their needs and wants and dreams and hopes from their own individual standpoint. I'm not asking them that. But what I'm asking, when you become that leader in that organization, say, hey, these people are not working for me. I'm actually going to be working for them. And if I put myself out there and be their biggest advocate and their biggest go-to guy or whatever and that kind of thing, that's what we need to do. And that's what Gary Vaynerchuk says in a lot of his videos. You should actually be working for them. And if we can do that, I truly believe we don't have to have the kind of businesses in the way that we have looked upon them for probably generations, that we go to work, oh, another day of work, another day, another day. And who wants to go through that? Would you? I wouldn't.
No. My coach and I we were in a meeting the other day, and one of the people in the meeting was having some hard time with self-sabotage. And so they brought her, in order for her to start getting better, we had to take her all the way down. Why this? Why? We got her all the way down to the end of the why. And she was more on the lines of, I don't even know if I'd want to live anymore. Like, if this happens and this happens and this happens. And so then we start building her back up, and it's all, talking. Well, when I got out of the meeting, I was talking to her and I said, wow, I said, when I think about my failing in my business, the only thing, the lowest I ever got was I'd have to go get a job.
Right.
Like, I never got that low, because I'm just going to first of all, I'm not going to fail, but I don't want to go out and work. And if I'm contracted, so a company might come to me and say, Kim, we're going to need you 40 hours a week for the next month so that you can build this computer system for us. I'll do that. And I still work all my other jobs with that 40 hours, and I go in there. But when I interview with them, they're we have an understanding. I'm not your employee. I have my own business. I am contracted. I am my boss. You tell me what you need to get done. I will get it done for you. And so they either say yes or no. And most of the times they say, yeah, because they don't want to have to tell me how to do something they don't know how to do. They're hiring me to come in and fix their accounting or build their software or whatever they need me to do. And so I lay it down like on the line, like I never thought I could. Maybe it's because I'm old now, but I'm just like, this is how it's going to be. And they're like, okay. And I think that we've lost that courage, because when you're going for a job, and I remember doing this back in my 20s, you just, yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Yes.
The yes man. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, sure. Yeah, that sounds great. Oh, overtime? You're not going to pay me? Fine. Oh, you're going to start me at a minimum wage? I really need this job. Okay. And we need to, in the professional business, we need to know our true worth. And
yes.
we need to be respected for that worth. And I see so many different people who they don't. But it's taken me a while, because I didn't have any worth, because I did so much stuff for free. I mean, I would do it, but I'm the first person to be like, oh, you don't have any money? Let me do it for free. I'll help you out. And then who goes and makes all the money? The person that didn't have any money, and who didn't get anything out of that. I did that for years, building up what I did. I don't regret any of it, because I always just worked a lot. But I've come to that point right now where I found my worth. Every morning I say my affirmations and my manifest and all that stuff. And it gives me the power to feel comfortable taking money. That's how bad it was with me. Everybody thinks they go to job for their money. I never have gone to anything for money. I think that I told my brother the other day, I said, it'd be nice if you just offered me pay me to do some of this work that I do for us, our family business. Because I'm not going to ask you for it. I give you the rate, and I send out a bill, and that's all I'm going to do. I have the feeling that you're going to pay me, but I'm not going to go like, can you send that check today? I'm not. I just don't do that. All my clients pay me. Like all of them send their money. I don't need to bother them for money, but I've never done it for the money. I've done it to help them. I get my job done, they're helped, and then I send out a bill. And that's the last thing on my list is the money part.
Well, see, this is the way also I'm building out the organization, the way we're going to deliver things is I'm building it like a field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. And I know a byproduct of what's being built will be that money. I'm not going to be focused on the money,
Right.
but I know that's going to be a natural byproduct of that. So when we put the focus in the right place for the right reason, then what's going to end up happening is they're going to say, hey, you will do this said work for us for $10,000, even though I've been charged by another company to do it for $80,000. Are you kidding me? So what I'm putting in perspective is I'm giving them actually more in value than what they're doing for the money logistics part. Because when we put our focus on the money, yeah, granted, it does have value to a certain extent, but what's more valuable right now?
Right.
Money or people? People are more valuable. And if you put the focus on people, I truly believe, Kim, the next currency of humanity is value. And once we show that value to others and really get invested in people, I truly believe we can just uplift people into so many great places. It's not even funny. And that's why I believe even human resources needs to be renamed. It shouldn't even be called human resources anymore. It needs to be called human investment, because it's gotten such a bad rap for so many years. It's like when you go to a car salesman, what do they get? Oh, they're going to get you for your money and all that kind of stuff. When you go to HR, why am I going to HR? Oh, I might be in trouble for something. What do you know? I don't know, but I just have that bad feeling. We need to change that dynamic around it. We have that positive feeling once we get that call. Say, hey, you need to go down to the Department of High. Okay, and say, hey, what am I here for? We heard that you did this great job today, Kim. We want to congratulate you that you did this service so well. And that's what we need to have. We need to have that perception and that feeling in our gut that we hear from people every day, that not only do we get treated right, we are honored by other people around us, and they give us the help that we need. And we need to become so selfless to a certain extent that I want to be so selfish for others, for us to become, as individuals, more unselfish for ourselves. And I think that's the way to go. And if that's the way that we can lead with our humanity, that's going to turn the tide in the way business is led from here on out.
So when we're raising children, teachers or whatever, I have always had, for every one bad thing, you have to do 3 good things.
Correct.
So, and I did home daycare for 10 years. So I've got 10 children that I have to, at 10 children at one thing bad a day per child. Now I've got 30 good things I have to come up with during that day to reward people. And that is when you go into all different child-bearing things to raise people correctly. You're always saying, if you punish someone, then you need to come back, and they have to have the opportunity to have the positive thing. Do you think that could work in a business setting? Because I know we're going to get in trouble. But most employers don't realize that $10 gift card or the lunch brought in, or like, they don't focus on that. And I think that in my opinion, in our office, if we did that, and that would bring up more positive. It is nonstop. It is not just okay, I hired you, do your job and walk away. And then when you did something bad. So what do you think about implementing your positive reward system?
That should be a foregone conclusion. That should already be there. We shouldn't have to do that kind of thing, that if you do said thing, you get rewarded. kind of dynamic. It should be natural and innate to what we do in business as a whole. Because if we do that as humanity as a whole, which we do already, what some people do, some people don't. But I mean, as a whole, that's what we need to do. If we really start putting the crux of what needs to be done from that dynamic to where if I do said work, am I going to get rewarded in this way? And I'm only looking for that always, 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 always. No, it should be something so proactive and so profound that it comes out of the blue. Okay, I'm bringing you coffee not only today, but you know what? I'm going to take you out to lunch. And that's what Gary Vaynerchuk says. Sometimes what you have to do is you get your people at a lunch and you start brainstorming during the lunch session and say, hey, what do we need to do to get our creative department to get it to where we need to go?
Yeah.
And that's what you got to do. But then again, you're putting that value back into the people each and every single day, and you're not asking for anything in return. Right. That's what I think is going to hit big, is when you actually put it in a non-returnable kind of format that, hey, Chris doesn't ask anything back of me, but he just wants me to say, hey, can you do said thing? All right, great. And if I know that Kim's going to do it and do it very well, I don't have to really give her that extra push and say, I'm going to reward you this way. Of course, I have to say, I'm going to pay you for the service that needs to be done. But then when it comes to that organizational structure, you know what's going to happen? We always will see those little things that I see a card on the desk, or I see a little gift card out of the blue. And there's those little things that build up over time that says, hey, you're appreciated, you're wanted, you're needed. And those are the kind of things that we need to do. We don't need to automatically assume that our boss is always going to either not reward us or reward us on a very little scale. It should be innate that they will just automatically do it because it's the right thing to do. And if we can do what is right and not what is easy, more people will gravitate to those leaders and those managers, which I hate to say, I call them leaders. The next thing you know, it's going to go that way, not dynamic, and people will start to see that shift, that people will say, hey, I want to be a part of this organization because you know what? They truly appreciate their people, and they don't do the little small things and say, hey, buy you a Coke here or get you a lunch here. They actually do more than that, and they go above and beyond, and that's what we need to do.
Right. Well, another part of that is I know employers that implement some of the positive part of it. The employees immediately take it. They don't appreciate it. So I think when you're talking about, humanity on everybody, we have to get people back down to realizing that, maybe this is all I can do, or, when it comes to, okay, I'll tell you a story. I was bartending probably 15 years ago. It was a long time ago. And it was for a construction company. And they had this nice dinner. We were in a private little location. I was just a bartender. They're all sitting around, and we were going to be there till like 11 o'clock at night. They brought in a DJ for the dance. So you've got all the wives and the husbands are all sitting around. And it had been a really slow year for the company.
Okay.
And the owner gets up, and there's all these big boxes up on the stage kind of thing. And he starts announcing the names, and he's handing out these boxes to the employees, and they open them up, and they're these really nice coats that he had bought everybody with the logo of the construction company on them.
Right.
Very nice coats. So they were all like, oh, that's really good. And then the guy walks off the stage, and, of course I'm bartending. Bartenders hear everything because they don't even know that I'm there. And a guy walks over and he says, when are we going to get our money? And the other guy goes, I don't think we're getting money this year. The guy goes, that's bull. And he walked over and stood there for a little bit. And then another guy walked over to the owner, talked to him for a little bit, went over. Mind you, it is 8 o'clock. They've rented this place out till 11. goes over, tells the one guy, he tells another person, and within 15 minutes, the owner, his wife, and a couple people are there, and everyone had left. They were mad.
No.
They all left. They didn't get their money. They got their coat. And I was like, what? And so they didn't know, like, we have this DJ, and he's like, I guess we're done. I felt horrible for him because those people expected what they got the year before. Now, I get it, but we're not supposed to live off of expectations and, whatever. And at that point, I thought there's probably some problems within this company.
Correct.
Like, there's something going on. I don't know the full story. I don't know anything going on, but the same thing happened at another company I was working at. The same thing. Times were tough. And he normally would give them a gift card to this particular store so they could go get their work boots. And
Right.
This year he did not. And they did the exact same thing. And then they all left. And this was a luncheon. And I worked there at that point. And so when a couple of them came in, to work at one point, and I said something about, like, why'd you guys leave? And they're just like, because we didn't get our gift card. I go, is that part of, I don't know, is that part of your pay or something? He goes, no, we get them every year. I go, so why would anybody want to give you something you expect? I wouldn't. Like, you made it not fun anymore when you're complaining about a gift. So employees have to, they also need to realize
Correct.
how to.
It works on both sides.
Yeah. Because you can teach leaders and you can teach the people who are supposed to push the company forward how to do everything right. But if we've got employees who have unrealistic expectations or believe that they deserve it, then we've got a problem.
That comes to the selfish mindset of people, and then comes back to self-gratification because they want for themselves. That's why we need to change that dynamic.
Right.
If we can change that dynamic to where they're grateful for that coat, they're grateful for that gift card, live in a mindset of abundance, not of scarcity.
Right.
And once they start to realize that something is far bigger, what it would have been, I guess a blow on your mind kind of moment, if that same guy who gave all those coats, just for instance, handed out all these coats, and people were still complaining about, well, where's the money? Where's the money? Wouldn't that be a shock where everyone still leaves, but then they start to take the time to go into that, maybe that pocket, and there was $1,000 check in each of those coats.
Right.
Then the whole mindset would be like, oh my God, what did I do?
Right.
See, that's the thing. They perceive something that's there that may not be actually real.
Right.
And that's what they're projecting. See, it's like what Brian Sumner says. What we're doing is we're putting our reality on someone else's reality when in fact it's not their reality that they're seeing. It's what we project onto them, thinking that that's what they are seeing when it's not.
Right.
And like I said, if I was that kind of guy that would give out coats and that kind of thing, and I would have heard that, I don't know if I would have done the same thing, but I would have done the surprise kind of thing. I would have stuck $1,000 check inside those coats and just give them out to them. And then people are saying, well, where's the money? Where's the money? And then they're up inside and be like, mind blown. And I guarantee you on the next luncheon or Christmas party or whatever, they will be like, okay, we got something even far better than a coat last year. We had $1,000. So, right. But see, that keeps in the mindset though of people. You're absolutely right. You're in the mindset of expecting. We need to get that out of the norm. We need to have them to be in a mindset of gratefulness and understanding right. that that's their place of be thankful that you had a job. Be thankful that you have a shoes on your feet and a coat on your back, especially if you're living in a place that's really cold. Whatever the place may be, you have to be grateful for everything. Grateful for the opportunity, grateful for the people that you meet. And if you don't live that way, Kim, you're going to miss out on so much.
I totally agreed, especially when jealousy comes into play, when it comes into the workplace. I've had one owner who does really, really well, pays really, really well, wanted to buy this very nice vehicle. And he said, I don't want to have to listen to my employees tell me how rich I am. And I was like, but you have worked hard. Like, they have absolutely no clue. Buy whatever car you want. And he was like, nope, I can't do it because they will continually harass me and talk behind my back, and morale's already down. And so I'm not going to get the car that I want. And I'm thinking, what kind of owner, like you can't even be that if you're allowing these employees to pull you down for their, for them, when I am trying to push people up. Like, when someone comes to me and says, I just got this job and I'm going to make 6 figures, I don't make 6 figures, and I don't go like this. Yeah, you're not going to like it. Probably not going to like it. What was that job? Sounded like a lot of work to me. I'm like, oh my gosh, think that's so awesome. And I'm there to help them, whether they start not to like it or like it. I'm going to be there and be who they want. I'm not going to feel bad. So there's a lot of work when it comes to humanity, like lots of different pockets of doing it. But I honestly believe it starts at the leader level.
It does. It does.
Starts at the leader level, and it also starts at your HI level, hiring people that fit your why.
Right. And see, I will actually turn on that point that you were talking about when it comes to that owner wanting to get that said vehicle that he wanted to get or did not want to get. I would turn it on this dynamic. I want to turn it in this frame of mind. I would actually do it and say, hey, I'm going to get the car that's going to best suit me. And if that means that I get a 1999 Ford Ranger, that's because that's what I want.
Right.
But then again, you know what? I'm not going to care what other people think about me. Even if it's in people in my own organization, they have the free will to do what they're going to do. Right. But you know what? When it comes to the dynamic of that balance of being that owner and leading by example, you know what? I'm going to do what is right by not only the organization, but I'm going to do right by the people and say, hey, this is not a reflection of you guys per se. This is a reflection of what I have worked for, and I should be proud of what I'm doing. So if we can get that framework in the mindset of people that they can attain the very same thing and not be self-gratifying or actually belittling and being in disgust of their own leaders in their own organization. Oh, he's driving in a Maserati, but yeah, I'm only driving in a Chevy. I mean, come on. They're trying to compare apples to apples when, in fact, there should be even no comparison because one is working differently than the other, right. And they're expecting a different result, even though the result is going to be the same to a certain extent, but it's going to be individually based. So if they put in the hard work at like I said, the partner level, they may end up getting that Maserati and everything like that because they did the good work. They always showed up on time. They stayed late. Whatever the case may be, they can turn that into that. And that's a mind shift set that they have to do and say, this is what I'm willing to do. And it shouldn't, see, I think that's what's happened. The culture in business today has shifted their negativity so bad into the negative towards leadership that they're the evil monster people and that kind of thing. And we need to shed that kind of persona off of leadership and show people this is what we can do, not only when we lead with our humanity, but we really get in touch with the heartbeat of our organization and listen and create that dynamic that everyone is like a knight of the round table. Everyone has a skill set, a gift, a purpose, a mission within inside that organization that says, I'm going to do said things. I'm going to make it happen, make it sparkle, make it shine, whatever that. See, that comes down to taking ownership, not only of yourself, taking ownership of your life, and knowing that you are meant to do what you're meant to do. See, every place that I worked, Kim, and I started work when I was 16 years old, I had that ownership mentality right from the very get-go. This was my business. This was my McDonald's. This was my Chili's. This was my Target. And I've done that. But see, I never got recognized for the good things that I'd done because, again, that positional mindset was within everybody else in the organization because they were thinking for themselves and not shining the light onto the people who helped them get to where they needed to go because it made them look good. But if we put the focus and, like I said, shift the light onto people who do that good work every day in every way and don't put the light on us, because it's like what Abraham Lincoln did and has been brought up by John C. Maxwell in the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. What he did in his administration, he surrounded himself, even with his own political rivals, in saying, hey, I want the best minds, no matter what they are, part of this cabinet, and this is what I'm going to do. But what he did from a leadership perspective is even during the Civil War, when he gave the credit to all these generals who won all these wars during the Civil War, he didn't take the credit for himself. He gave the credit to those.
Yep.
But when they failed or someone in the administration failed, he took all the blame. And that's what we need to do. We need to lead with our humanity in that kind of context. That, let's say, if Kim does a great thing for me in bringing humanity together and she did it very well, I'm not going to take all the credit. Kim did it. Kim creates all the glory in the frame for that, and that goes to Kim only. But if Kim comes back and says, hey, Chris, I didn't do such, such, and such, okay, no problem, Kim. And if a client calls me, I'll take all the blame. No worries. I got your back. Because, see, that's what a good leader does. No matter if he was in the right or in the wrong, they still do the right thing anyways, because it puts that person at ease and saying, hey, I may fail today, but you know what? Chris was still going to take a hand with me on this journey and say, we're going to make it right. We're going to fix it. We'll do whatever it takes. And you got to be that guiding light. And if you can't be that guiding light to others and be that beacon of hope and positivity and of power of possibility to others, then you're not going to uplift people to where they need to go, because then you'll just be shining that spotlight only onto yourself and say, I'm the star of the show. I'm the top dog in the organization. And that's not what it's all about anymore. It's not. It's about giving to others and putting the shine of the light onto them and say, hey, you're doing the good work. You're doing the great, fantastic job. And once that happens, everything, again, will be a natural byproduct of everything else. You will get the recognition. You will get the money. Everything's a natural byproduct of it. Everything's interconnected. And once people understand that we're truly interconnected with one another, not only from a leadership dynamic standpoint, but also from the quote-unquote employee standpoint, partners and leaders can truly work together. Because once they see that and understand that, they won't have to think like this anymore, Kim, that employees are replaceable. They should be thinking that people are irreplaceable. And once that happens, the sky's the limit.
Well, and you said about taking credit and stuff like that. That's one thing that I have always worked on really hard, is because I do a lot of things, I try to make sure that everyone gets the credit. Even if I've done it, I would rather someone else that has had that did a little bit of a part on it, because I've never been the person that said, I did this. I had to do this. We had, I used to be the person that went to all the meetings for our restaurants. It was my brother's restaurant. I was a partner, but this is his dream. I'm just the accountant, and I'm going to the meetings, and he's working at the restaurant. And I never would say my restaurant. I would say our family's restaurant.
Right.
And I believe there's a time. There's always a time that I need to step up my credibility and take a little bit of credit for something. But if I'm working on a project and I make sure, and let's say I've got 4 people working, doing it for me, I always figure out, like, no, they did it. Like, I just helped this, but you know what? They really helped out a lot, because I know that most people need to be pushed up. I've got a lot of self-confidence, so I like to be appreciated, but I know that if my team is appreciated, that falls back on me automatically.
It does. it naturally defaults to that. And see, that comes back into that mission statement. If I help you, you help me, then we help we. Because if you push the appreciation and you shine that light on to others of what the work that they've done and they worked so hard in, and yeah, you contributed maybe a lot more than what they did. See, I believe that what you're doing in concert to what you're doing on that project or on that consultation or whatever that may be, that you can say, you know what, we all did this together. It's not about pontification or Susie did this and she did 95% of the work and only Chris only did 5% of the work. It's not about that.
No.
It isn't. It's about truly saying, hey, we did this together. We collaborated. We created this dynamic. We put out the deliverable, and this is what we came up with. And if you just, like I said, put all the credit to where it really needs to go, everything will naturally have a default after that. The momentum, the appreciation, the money, everything will flow into that.
It does.
And if they don't realize that, they're going to miss out on so much, because then they will miss out on another opportunity. What if that very said client says, instead of you helping out with this, we also want to help out with that. But you know what? Since they wanted to hog up all the glory from your organization and say, and they may even went, let's say, behind your back and say, hey, I took all the credit for this because this is the one I did. What's going to end up happening, that leaves a bad taste in their mouth. They're going to say, hey, you may have a person that's not really good for your organization do this behind your back. So we're kind of now unsure about this. And who wants to hear that? So that's what I believe. If you just, like I said, do what is right, not what is easy, put the appreciation when it needs to be laid. And yeah, of course, you got to have the accountability factor and say, hey, if you missed a deadline, okay, Chris, you missed a deadline, didn't you? Yep, it was on me. I take the blame for that. Even though it may have been somebody else in the organization that didn't do their part, I got to be the accountable person and say, hey, we didn't do what we needed to do. And that's what we got to do. It's like I said, lead by example. Put the accountability where it needs to go, but yet still uplift people in the very same way that needs to be done, whether it be when we have to hold them accountable or we actually give them the credit that they deserve. Because again, it's about that balance. And if we don't have that balance in there, it's going to be an imperfect world right from the very get-go. We were not reaching our said goals to become more complete in our daily lives, not only from a business standpoint, but also personal. Because when you were saying that we're in that pursuit of perfection, perfection is a false reality. Nothing's going to be perfect. But once we understand that, more people will be, okay, I know this is what I have to do. I help to have Kim help me with this, or I need to help Kim with this. And once they see that correlation into that, there's nothing we can't do.
Well, so it sounds like to me is that to change, wording needs to be changed.
Correct.
Some words that we use, and behaviors need to be moved to a little bit different, needs to be changed, because you can't change unless you do exactly what we were talking about. What is a leader, and who are the leaders in the company, and are you going to actually help those leaders even become better? And then leaders, so honestly, it just depends on who you are. I never really have a problem with I'm leading, because I'm a very giving, caring person. And, I can be catering, a big catering. And, we've talked, I've been with the people for a day and a half. And then all of a sudden something gets screwed up. And if I lose my temper, they don't look at me like I'm some evil person. They have understood the importance, because I have talked to them the whole time saying, this is important. The people in these, let's say, suites, this is who they are. This is what they do. And this is why we have to be perfect. And when something goes wrong, I have prepared them to understand why I'm going to behave when you screw up, because this is going to be a big deal. People are going to get in trouble. Now, I don't just come in to be a leader and just bark orders and not educate them on why I react or behave the way that I behave. And so I think that communication has got to be changed.
Absolutely.
And we are so proud of our money, but if your company isn't doing that well and you're pretending like you are, then people are going to leave after you give them a coat. They didn't know. They're just thinking in their minds, they're probably going on a very expensive vacation and spending my money. You don't have the right communication going on there.
Correct.
If your employees are treating you that way, or you're treating them that way, there's a meeting that comes and says, no numbers. Actually, we were down 27% this year. We couldn't get the jobs. We lost some contracts. We're doing it. We're really glad that you guys are still here. Next year's going to be better. But I think what happens, especially in some companies, the only people that get that are this level up here. And all these people down here are left they don't know anything going on.
And that's why communication should be universal in every organization, every day, in every way. Because when you create that environment that there's growth ability and opportunity, there's thriving opportunity and ability there, that it's not about me, it's not about you, it's not even about us. It's what we truly leave behind for future generations to leave a living and lasting legacy to others, not only in a business dynamic, but actually in life itself. And if we can be, like I said, those selfless servant leaders who are going to lead by example and lead with their humanity and lead by permission versus position, next thing you know, they're not just handing out coats. You know what? They're saying, we're going to give you a raise. We're going to give you a raise. We're going to give you a raise. It's not because they're just getting a raise just for the mere fact of giving a raise. They're doing it because they know their worth. They know their value. Because I truly believe in this. I wouldn't be successful if Kim's not successful. And if Kim's not successful, I know I'm not going to be successful. Just like everyone else in the organization won't be successful, because like I said, we're interdependent on each other to do very well. And if we don't see how interconnected, again, as we are as human beings, and also in a business dynamic, what happens is almost like the circle of life. If you have that big circle, and then there's a part of that breaks, not only does the circle of trust break, the momentum breaks, and everything in between breaks, then you have to start all over again. You shouldn't have to go through that. You need to be proactive versus reactive.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what my father taught me. And he said, if you can learn one new thing a day, Chris, then you will have a productive day. And I've always learned from that, because I got to learn more about Kim. I got to learn more about Eileen. I got to learn more about Luke. And by doing that, you create, again, the invitation to connect with people on that human level. And if we don't send out that invitation out and make it open and honest and say, hey, this is what's going on in my life, this is what's happening on this consultation that we're having, or we're doing this preliminary thing that we need to do, a tax thing on whatever that thing may be for them, just be there for them in the moment. Be present to be present, be present to understand, and talk with them in a great and engaging conversation. Don't talk for them and think what they're going to say is what you really want to hear, but what you really need to hear. Because see, that's what's happened in a lot of conversations that we have. We only hear what we want to hear, not what we need to hear. And if we need to hear the bad and the ugly first, then I need to hear the bad and ugly first. And then we can work from that and go from a proactive standpoint to make it in a positive. Because see, nothing is really always in the positive dynamic. And I know that. And if we can, like I said, change that to where we have that balance, that we say, hey, today's not going to be a good day. We understand that, but let's end it on a positive note. Or if it still starts out on a positive, and there's always going to be these roadblocks in our way, always expect the unexpected, and just say, hey, we're going to plow through this. It's going to be okay on the other side. And like I said, leave that kind of positive element, even in the depths of darkness, that people can grab onto and gravitate to and say, you know what, we're going to keep moving forward.
Right. That's exactly. Well, that we have a lot of work on our hands.
But it's going to get done. It's not a matter of when it's going. It's not going to be a matter of if it's going to get big. It's only going to be a matter of when.
It's when. So when you are not trying to change humanity, and you're in Florida, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So what do you do down there for fun? What's like your hobbies and stuff?
Well, if you've already checked out my LinkedIn profile, I'm a big Star Wars fanatic. I love Star Wars. That is that I truly believe it's one of my saving graces besides my wife. Right. If it wasn't for my wife today, I probably wouldn't be here today. But when I was at a young age, it really has changed my whole life story to a certain degree. When my mom committed suicide when I was age 10, it really helped me through a lot.
Right.
Because I believe there's a lot of stories and actionable things that could be learned from Star Wars because of that. It is like, and it's even said in a lot of episodes of like, do or do not, there is no try. You know, Master Yoda, right. He says that. And it's like what Obi-Wan Kenobi said to Anakin Skywalker in episode 3. He said, you swore not to become the very monster that you swore to destroy, and you joined the Sith and things of that nature. And there's a lot of messages I know within the Star Wars story and ethos that's truly relatable today. And that's why I'm turned my shift into that. So I love Star Wars. I love my wife. I'm a big sports nut. So I love football, love basketball, love baseball. My favorite team is, of course, the New York Yankees for baseball. But when it comes to college sports, I'm a big Florida Gator fan. So I'm a big Gator at heart. But when it comes to pro football, I'm a big Dolphin fan. And now I have to be a Buck fan because Tom Brady's now a Tampa Bay Buccaneer now. So I'm a big Buck at heart. But that's what I really like to do. I like going out to movies. I love sci-fi movies. Like I said, I love sci-fi. I like action, adventure, and that kind of thing. So I like actors like Harrison Ford and Mark Hamill, and some of the newer things like truly the most inspirational actor I can think of right now is Robert Downey Jr. He has a story behind him.
Yeah, yes. He's got a true story. Like,
yes, he does.
He's a survivor.
Yes, he is. Survivor. And those are the kind of people I truly relate to. And when I saw him, he was in Iron Man. I didn't see him as Iron Man in all those movies. I saw him as him. And that's what I relate to when it comes. See, I believe what we do in life is a reflection of what we really want to personify in what we do. And see, I've told this to a friend of mine years ago, that when you go into acting, it's basically a reflection of who you really want to be known as. So right. When they go in to act as a bad dictator, kind of smuggler or cocaine addict or whatever, that's who they want to personify themselves. And when I told that to him, he's like, "Are you kidding me? That's what they really want to embrace of who they are?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think that might be a reflection of who they are." So he's like, "I never thought of it that way." But when you think about that, that's what they want to do. When they read the script, do they want to be that evil guy? Is that in their heart? You know, it's one of those things that I just look at it that way.
My one of my favorite is John Wick 1, 2, and 3.
Keanu Reeves is unique.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Him and I have been dating since like 1987. He doesn't know it, but I recently broke up with him so that he could date, you know, that other woman, whatever.
I know.
But I know it's hard. I really never dated Keanu Reeves. I dated Johnny Utah from Point Break. I dated the guy from Speed, and of course John Wick. So I kind of like went to his.
Well, you're forgetting one though. You're forgetting one. You're forgetting Neo from The Matrix.
Yeah. See, and I watched that one, but it's like I don't really remember it so much. Like,
You got to watch it again. Watch it again. I guarantee you'll see a new. But think about it this way: The Matrix is about a reality who's not in a true reality. They're trying to break people out of that reality. And think about what we're doing today, Kim.
Okay,
That's what we're doing. We're taking people out of one reality, thinking that that's what they're meant to be and to become, when we need to show them that there is another way. And if we can do that and unplug them from that so-called system, then they're opened up to a brand new world. And we need to be a part of that.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Well, and I just watched Bill and Ted Face the Music or something like that too.
I want to see that. Oh
my gosh. It was so good. Now, I was going to watch the 1 and 2. I was going to watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey, but then my daughter brought it over and she was like, let's watch it now. So she had to explain a few characters in there because of course they're older, but it was really good. It was really good. I like watching television. So during the coronavirus, I had to, watch a lot more television. So I'm like, I think I've watched Netflix twice.
All right.
But yeah,
so if you want my favorite books right now, I need to tell people. Yeah, my 2 favorite books right now that people need to start listening to or reading is the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership from John C. Maxwell, and the other one is called Exception to the Rule, and you can find those on Google Play. In fact, what I'll do, Kim, is I will send those to you in our LinkedIn chat so you can pass them on to people when you post up this podcast. And those are the 2 greatest books you guys need to read right now. When I read the introduction to Exception to the Rule, that's all I knew. That's what bringing humanity together was all about. When I read that, I was like, this is what we are right here, right now. And that's what I believe.
Yeah, I have. I've got like 7 books I bought to read because I know that if I get them, I'll read them, and I want them here. I don't want to have to order them, and then I order them on my Libby, which is through the library. You can get free audiobooks. So you download the app, and so they all keep going. So I have Simon Sinek, but right now I'm doing Find Your Why. I have Leaders Eat Last, but I just got done, and I don't even have my phone down here, which is crazy. I hadn't even felt like shakes or anything. And it was like The Ordinary Mind or something like that. And I like.
Yeah, send me what you have. That'd be great.
I was gonna say I'll send him. I like the books that tell me why I do what I do. And The Ordinary Brain or Mind, I think it's Ordinary Mind or something Mind. And it talks about the front lobe. And what I learned from that is multitasking is the most negative thing you can possibly do. And I'm a multitasker because I've got all these things going on. And I am working slowly but surely to reorganize how I do it because it takes a while. And I can get twice as much stuff done in a day by not multitasking, by following this new structure. It's just following the new structure every day, because some days I just go right back into it. And I'm halfway through the day going, why did you not start out right? And
but that's okay. You can always make it better on the other side.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. So yeah, so books are important. I'm excited to see where things go. You have a podcast that you are getting ready to hopefully
get back into swing of things. And also we actually have a couple of social media channels too, and I also will send your way. We have 2 YouTube channels already. We also have a Twitter handle that I will share with you too as well. You can share with your listeners. And then also we have Conversations for Humanity that we have every Wednesday on LinkedIn that we do. And I will send all that information to you so you can send it out to your listeners, and so they can get in touch with not only you, but also us together. And if we create that conversation, I would love to have the opportunity to.
So you could go to LinkedIn and you can look for Chris on LinkedIn. It's Chris Berryman. And I will I will put the link to his profile in the description for the podcast and the YouTube stuff. I'll put all this stuff down there because I hate typing. Like they tell you, you're supposed to put out this big description. I was like, or they can just listen.
Yep.
Like I'm not that organized, but I do like to put the links to things in there. So
and that's fine. I'll share them with you here very soon. I'll do that.
yeah,
Absolutely.
send those to me, and we will chat soon. So you guys, thank you so much for another Superstar segment for Kimology 411. And you guys, even though you guys are busy and you've got all the stuff going on, I strongly recommend you keep taking all of your adventures. We'll talk to everyone soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone.